I guess I'll go ahead and start with my top 10 players. So at number 10, I have Paul George. I think he a really good player on both sides of the floor. He has great handles and shootings for his size, him being like a 6'9" wing. And my only issue with him is I feel like he kind of shrinks under pressure in big, high leverage moments. There was like a stat where, like, on game winners, he was 0 for 11 going into last year. I think he hit a couple last year, but that was just the stat that resonated with me. And so, yeah, Paul George at 10. At 9, I have Damian Lillard. Now, look, Dame time is the definition of clutch. When he hit that shot over Paul George, that ended OKC's whole existence, and now they literally have to restart. He's one of the most skilled players all around in the league, having the handle, the shot, the step back, free throw shooting, all that stuff offensively. Not the best defensive player, just based on size. And my biggest thing with him is I think, like, negative wise, I think he's reached his peak. I don't see him getting much better or taking the Portland Trailblazers any farther than they've already gone. Just kind of based on the team that they have around them still. I feel like they've had the same team for about 3 to 4 years, and they're kind of just doing well in the regular season and dying out by the second round. So at 8, I have Kyrie Irving. I feel like the media has scrutinized him so much that people are underrating his talent. In my opinion, Kyrie Irving is the most skilled player of all time. If you look at his size, he's not going to play above the rim like, Kobe, MJ, and all them, but his ability to finish under the rim is something we have never seen from someone his size with his athleticism. His ball handling, I think he's the greatest person to ever handle a basketball and dribble a basketball, which is saying a lot. His ability to shoot, space the floor, his footwork is amazing. I've never seen somebody with such great footwork. Um, Maybe next to Kobe, but it's just a combination of all those things that factor in to why I think he's the most skilled player ever. He's just not there defensively, and he doesn't have the size or athleticism as the other elites for me to put him any farther on the list. At number 7, I have Joel Embiid. The biggest thing with him is health concerns. Obviously, he's been injured every year, and last year was the first year he could really play, like, for a while. But yeah, I mean, as a talent, he's unbelievable. He's a 7 footer who can do literally everything. He can dribble, shoot, pass. He can do it all. Block shots like crazy. And I kind of like his antics. I kind of like how he talks trash. Him and what's his name, Karl Anthony Towns got into it the other day, and I just kind of like that competitiveness. He just doesn't have any big wins in his repertoire. I feel like that game 7 against the Raptors. I feel like if they win that game, they go on to win the finals. So had he won that, you know what I'm saying, I could rate him a little bit higher up, but he lost that game, so I can't do that for right now. At 6, I have Anthony Davis. He is the most skilled big in the league. He is a dominant defender. Does much need to be said? There's really not much need to be said there. He's like a 6'11" big who used to be a point guard in high school. So he's got all the skills and attributes you need from a guard in a big man's body. My biggest knock on him is he can't be the alpha on a team. So I think it actually goes perfectly that he's playing with LeBron right now. And he just doesn't have any big wins in his resume. The biggest thing he did was win a first round series against the Trailblazers, I believe, last year or 2 years ago. So yeah, so he needs more bigger wins. At number 5, I have Giannis. Uh, he really does. Shaq said it that he's the only other person that can call himself Superman, and I really see why he said that.
Wait, you have him at 5?
Yes, I have Giannis
The,
at
the MVP?
yeah.
Okay.
Didn't Westbrook win an MVP a couple years ago? Was
No,
he?
I was just asking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have him 5. He's the best open court player in the league. He's a great defender. He's long, athletic. My issue with him is he struggles in the half court. So when teams slow the game down like the Raptors did last year and you put an elite defender in the half court, I feel like he shrinks because of his inability to shoot. He can shoot better than Ben Simmons, but that's really not saying much. He's developing that mid range game, but until he becomes like an average jump shooter, I just don't see him being the best player in the world in a jump shooting league right now. At number 4, I have the person who should have won MVP last year, James Harden. Let's be honest, guys. He's the best offensive player in the world right now, especially because KD's hurt. That was the only real debate in my mind.
Facts.
And with KD being hurt, it's obviously Harden. He is the greatest player ever at drawing fouls. Which, if you don't think that's a skill, you are sadly mistaken. He gets other teams in foul trouble, and he gets easy shots the whole game, and he makes his free throws too. No one ever gives him credit for that. He averages over 35. Right now, I think he's averaging 37. Last year, he averaged 36. Both years, he has had another star on his team. Chris Paul, for all the stuff, bad stuff people say, he's been a star his whole career. This year, he has Russell Westbrook on his team, and he's still averaging these insane scoring numbers. So, James Harden at 4. Number 3, I got Steph Curry. So, I feel like KD being on the team made people sleep on Stephen Curry. Um, One knock I have on Steph is that he opened KD with such open arms because I kind of like the competitiveness of like, no, I kind of want to beat you, don't really want to play with you. But that negative thing also kind of shows like a positive he has in that he's the best teammate superstar ever, where he's not really egotistical like almost every other superstar ever. So that's a positive in that aspect. And yeah, he's the best shooter ever, and he literally changed the game. I feel like on the court, as much as anyone who's ever lived, literally centers cannot be back the basket players anymore. They have to learn how to shoot because of Steph Curry and kind of the 3-point evolution that's come about the last 5-10 years. At number 2, I got LeBron James. He is still one of the best passers and finishers in the league, if not the best at both. Um, we all know LeBron's great. He's been great for years on years on years. I think he's getting a little older now, so he doesn't have the motor like he used to come 40, 50 games into the season. He's still not a consistent free throw shooter as an elite superstar should be, which has always been the knock on him. So, yeah, so LeBron at 2. At number 1, you guys could probably guess who I got. I got Kawhi Leonard. He is the best defensive player in the NBA by far. He's a top 5 offensive player in the NBA. He is clutch. Y'all saw that game 7 game-winning shot he made. He's clutch. He's hungry, and he wants to be the man. He came to LA and had those commercials. Hey, this is my city. And I like that hunger and that drive. The load management thing is really annoying, but as a player, I think he's the best player in the league, and I think LeBron's playing well, so I think it's close, but I give the edge to Kawhi Leonard right now. So yeah, that's my top 10. You can go ahead and give yours, and we
Thanks,
could talk about it a little bit.
All right, so top 10, we're going to start with Kyrie. I know this is like Keon's favorite player, but I'm not too big of a fan on him. I don't know, last year was kind of scary. I like called the Celtics exit before it happened. But then again, he's on the Nets by himself. I think, as like production wise, he's definitely a top 10 player this year. Putting him at 10, right behind Damian Lillard at 9. Honestly, the most cold-blooded point guard in the league. Couldn't be realer. But yeah, I mean, I know the Trailblazers are struggling right now, but I think he'll be fine. I know it's just new system with Whiteside. He's not as skilled as Nurkic, so just kind of takes some getting used to. We're going to transition to kind of a center. I mentioned him as one of my favorite players, Jokic. Definitely the best passing big man in the league. He's the quarterback of the Denver Nuggets, just straight up. I love those type of players, like Doncic, like LeBron. The whole offense kind of runs through him. Then we're going to Embiid. He's kind of more of a traditional big. I know kind of Barkley's knock on him is really him not getting down on the block enough, but I feel like with the Celtics' new roster and with their lineup, I think they're more oriented around posting up and using mismatches. So, yeah, I think he's be on the block a lot more, which is where I like him. He could shoot, but he shouldn't be camping on the 3-point line when you're that skilled. His footwork's just too nice to just be sitting out there shooting threes. He's not Brook Lopez. He's a phenom. He's a beast. He's my number 7. At 6, we have the best big man in the league, Anthony Davis. Honestly, if this guy's at the top of his game, he's a top 3 player. He's literally the prototypical new era big man. He could shoot. He could shoot off the dribble. He could dribble. He has every single move that a guard has, but he also has post moves. His mid-range game is really underrated. I like his turnaround jumpers. Honestly, he could shoot any shot he wants, and it'll look fine. Like, this guy's a beast. Pick and roll with LeBron is unstoppable. the only reason I don't have him higher is because he is on a team with LeBron, and I don't know. I just don't want to hype him too much up and then just see him get injured right before playoffs or something. That would be really sad. 5, we're going to have Stephen Curry. He's the guy who kind of changed the NBA. I feel like this is more of like a respect ranking for him. I'm not too big of a fan on him this year. I did have higher expectations with him and D'Lo, but with this injury and everything happening, I still have him at 5. I just feel like he's just a prolific scorer. You really can't stop this guy. I mean, he could shoot as soon as he crosses a half-court line. So, someone that's always super dangerous on a nightly basis. And then I know I kind of made fun of Keon for having Giannis at 5, but
So you have him at 4?
yeah, I have him at 4. But okay, kind of my reasoning is I expected his jump shot to develop more over the offseason, and it really didn't. Like, his jump shot has not progressed at all since last year, and that's fine, but I don't think he's improved, and I feel like people are figuring out how to guard him. And, like, if you don't believe me, he airballed, like, 2 free throws, like, last week. I don't know how more people didn't talk about it, like, the MVP airballing 2 consecutive free throws in a row. If James Harden did that, like, that'd be all over Bleacher Report.
That's bad.
All over Bleacher Report.
People like Giannis more than Harden.
Yeah, people give Giannis way too much leeway. I knew he was going to win an MVP, but I just feel like his game's not complete yet, and I feel like the MVP was a little bit like premature. But that's all right. Might be just because I'm from Houston. We're gonna go with James Harden at 3. Honestly, favorite player in the league. Dude could average 40 points if he really wanted to. He could average 50 points if he was on a bad team by himself. I just never seen somebody score this consistently, this easily. If you don't like him, just please pay attention. It's so impressive. Just sit there and like respect his game and just try to watch it subjectively. I know the fouls are a little annoying, but man, this guy could hit any shot. Like literally any shot on the court, he could hit it. And I don't know, it's just someone I love watching, and just having on like my hometown team is such a pleasure. Gonna have Kawhi at 2. Great player, but I just don't think he's edging out LeBron yet. Maybe if he proves this year that he's, better than LeBron, LA is his city, then I'll give him that number 1 spot. But honestly, just for now, I still think LeBron is just at the top of the game. And yeah, LeBron's number 1, just best player in the NBA. This dude just seems like a dad. Like, he's literally the father of some of these like young players like he could be, but he's still putting up triple doubles. Like, I don't know. This is pretty unprecedented. I just think he's the best athlete in the league somehow, and he's like 17. Well, how many seasons?
17th
17th season.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a good top 10. I think we have the same players in ours, right? The same players but different order.
You don't have Jokic.
Okay.
And you have Paul George instead of Jokic.
Okay. Yeah. Jokic is my 11. And also, I'd like to say if this was last year, I think KD is number 1 and Kawhi is number 2. I just want to throw that out there. We don't know if KD will ever be the same after this injury, but hopefully he will be, because he was, I think, the best player in the world at the time he got hurt. So now, I want to introduce our special assistant, Alejandro. He's been kind of taking care of stuff behind the scenes for us, trying to make sure our first show goes right from a technical perspective. And he kind of wanted to get in. He's a big basketball fan. He said he kind of wants to get in and give his little list of top 10 players. So I'm going to go ahead and let him do it. What's up, Alejandro?
What's up, guys? I'm just going to introduce myself a little. I'm a junior at UT right now, studying business. Really big Rockets fan from Houston. As Keon said, I love basketball. Not a big football guy, but basketball is definitely my sport. Just going into my top 10 really quick. I have Dame at 10. Kyrie at 9. Kyrie would be higher on my list, but I feel like his style of play doesn't really contribute to team success. He hasn't had much success since he left LeBron with the Celtics. He didn't exceed expectations. At 8, I have Paul George. At 7, I have Steph. That's partly due to because he's injured, and this year he won't have the team success that we're accustomed to. At 6, I have Joel. 5, I have Giannis. A lot of that's because he doesn't have a jumper. 4, I have Anthony Davis. 3, I have Harden. 2, I have Kawhi. Then at number 1, I have LeBron. I feel like a lot of people are still hating on LeBron's season with the Lakers last year, and I don't think that's fair because his team around him wasn't that good. As we already seen at the beginning of the season, LeBron's dominating the league right now. He's averaging 26, 8, and 11. He's only lost 1 or 2 games, and he's at the top of the conference. And yeah, that's my list.
Pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Again, I think we have the same players, just different order. You think LeBron's the best. I got Kawhi. We both have Harden in our top 5 and Giannis in our top 5.
Honestly, a 1 and 2. It's just like it's
Yeah.
just kind of preference on like
It's just
style.
preference,
Like
yeah.
production's gonna be the same. Like
Yeah.
both those guys are gonna dominate every single game, night in, night out.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.